All right, so today we are learning how to graph using something called slope-intercept form. Right now we know how to graph, but we have to make the table, we have to pick our x values, so it takes a long time. So I'm going to show you what I think is a really fast and easy way to graph. So let's take some notes first. So we're going to put graphing with slope-intercept form. So the first thing you have to do is what we learned a couple of lessons ago. The first step is to solve for y. You've got to get the y by itself in order to use this formula. The second step, these aren't going to make sense to you yet, don't worry about it. The second step is you're going to put the y-intercept on the graph. And then your last step is you're going to use slope to add 2 more points to the graph. Use slope to add 2 more points to the graph. So there's a lot of kind of vocab we have to do. So I'm just going to give you all the information up front, and then I'm going to walk you through the examples using all this information. Okay. So in order to do all this, you first need to know what is slope-intercept form. And you actually already know it. We just weren't calling it slope-intercept form. So the formula is y equals mx plus b. Right? And we've seen that before. We did standard form and we did y equals mx plus b form. Well, this form is called slope-intercept form. Why? Because the m is the slope. So whatever number you put in the place of m, that's your slope. And b is your y-intercept. That's it. It's a really simple formula. And once we start doing examples, I think you'll see how easy it is to use. The other thing that you need to know is what is this y-intercept? What's the importance of it? So we're going to put y-intercept. So the first off, this is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. The point where the graph crosses the y-axis. And then it's also where you start when you're graphing an equation. Where you start is the easiest place to start. Okay, there's a few more things I need to explain, and then we're finally going to get to start. The last thing I want to talk about are what are the slope directions, because point 3 says use slope to find 2 more points. Well, you have to know what the slope directions are in order to do that. Okay, so your slope can be positive or negative. So we'll do positive slope over here, negative slope over here. So if you have a positive slope, that means you have a positive number over another positive number. For the number on top, you're going to move up. And for the number on bottom, you're going to move right. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense yet. I promise it will in a few minutes. The other way to get a positive slope is if you have a negative number over another negative number, because negative divided by negative is also positive. So if you have 2 negatives, you're going to go down for the number that's on top, and you're going to go left for the number that's on the bottom. okay? So that's your positive slope. If you're going to have a negative sloping line, you can have positive over negative. So again, if positive is on top, you go up. Negative on bottom, you go left. Or you could switch that around and have a negative over a positive. So positive on top means you go down. Negative on top, you go down. Positive on bottom, you go right. Okay? So those are the slope directions. I know that was a lot of information, but now I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to do the think about it. So just make sure your notes are complete so that you can look back at this when you're doing your practice problems.